For the fans that are in the know, then you know that Kevin Johnson, 29-6 with 14 KOs. He has one draw, and basically he's never been knocked out. Is going up against Anthony Joshua, 10-0 with 10 KOs. He's from the UK, 6'6", about 230, 240 pounds. Is the best heavyweight prospect there is now. And I know people keep telling me, talk about Joseph Parker, talk about. I'm gonna listen, calm down. I got it. I want to say on T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. I actually forgot the date that the fight is happening. I believe it's January the 31st in the O2 Center. I actually watched the press conference today, and I don't even know how I forgot what a press conference about 13 hours ago. Right now, it is 2:04 a.m., December the 4th, 2014. I am T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live, and I do my videos live, so sometimes I may repeat things over and over again, especially if it's late. So, moving on. Anthony Joshua is the WBC International Champion. What that is that's one of the very first belts you can get along the WBC trail as far as moving up the rankings until you get the WBC Silver or WBC Interim, and then you go on to get a WBC title shot, which Manuel Charr has right now. He's going to be taking on Deontay Wilder, then Vladimir Klitschko, Brian Jennings, Alexander Povetkin, yada, yada, yada. So what I'm saying to you is this, just to keep it simple. He's on the green belt path. The green belt is the most prestigious belt in boxing, the WBC belt that has Jose Sulaiman, Muhammad Ali, Joe Louis, and a couple other. I know I should know, and I'll definitely make sure I know, because that's something I'm supposed to know. So, moving on, he's taking on a guy by the name of Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson's last two fights was against a guy by the name of Manuel Charr, who fought Vitaly Klitschko, and also a guy by the name of Dereck Chisora. Or if you follow heavyweight boxing, you should know that he just got his face smashed in by a left-handed 6'9", 250-pound Tyson Fury. I look at it like this. During the press conference, Kevin Johnson said he would donate 50% of his purse to charity if he was knocked out. And he asked Anthony Joshua to basically do the same thing. Joshua doesn't seem too confident that he can knock out Kevin Johnson. And this is the first time I'm actually seeing this, him not having the confidence. Now let's talk about Kevin Johnson, just so you can understand what I'm talking about. Kevin Johnson has fought Vitaly Klitschko, Manuel Charr, Dereck Chisora, bitch-ass Tor Hamer, I think. A couple other names that should be known. Long story short is he has not been knocked out. Vitaly Klitschko has 45 wins. And in those 45 wins, he's knocked out 41 of them. Kevin Johnson wasn't one of them. So, I guess what I'm saying to you is you have to understand that if you're an Anthony Joshua fan, this is a fight you need to be tuning into. And if I'm correct, it is the main event. And as it goes on right now, what I do is, when I cover a fight, I'll do an initial video, which is this one right here. And then I'll do a certain amount of videos all the way leading up to the fight. So I'll cover the fight itself. I'll cover the weigh-in. I'll do a fight week prediction, and then I'll do like 2 maybe videos sprinkled in between. So basically, you can consider this the first video. I covered Anthony Joshua's last fight, and I covered 7 out of 10 of his fight. So as it stands right now, I'm following him all the way up to the ranks. So I look at it like this. It's hard to talk about him because people always want me to say, okay, well, what about Frank Warren saying no Tyson Fury, and what about David Price and he's injured, and then what about him? Do you think he can beat Klitschko and all? I'm thinking, well, why? How can I talk about? He's still a prospect. So it's like, of course I can say, oh yeah, he can beat Dereck Chisora right now. Of course I can see that stuff. But at the same time, it's not doing him a justice, and also it's not fair just to start putting him up there. And it's like, let him work his way up. He wants to get rounds under his belt. For him to be fighting a guy like Kevin Johnson this early in his career, when guys like Vitaly Klitschko did not fight him, when Vitaly Klitschko didn't fight him when he was 10-0 or whatever. I'm just saying, I know, one has more wins and more fights than the other. I'm just saying, the point I'm trying to make is, it's a tough fight for a kid that's just 10-0 and only been in the business for less than 2 years, So as it stands right now, I look at it like this. It's going to be a good fight. Why? Because we wanted to see Anthony Joshua go rounds. We want to see, as we should with all fighters, we want to see how he deals with adversity. We want to see how he deals with taking a punch. We want to see how he looks in round 1 and then how he looks in round 10, 11, and 12. We want to see if there's any stamina or endurance issues. Right now, everything looks perfect. But that's why you fight a guy like Kevin Johnson to get those rounds in, so people like myself on a pro level, we can look and say, okay, all right, he's really got the goods. And then if he knocks out a guy like Kevin Johnson, then that's more power to him, because as I mentioned before, the other guys didn't knock him out. He fought Alex Leope too. He beat Alex Leope. Alex Leope fought Malik Scott in his last fight, lost, and then before that he got knocked out by Vladimir Klitschko. So Kevin Johnson is a very, very, very credible opponent. And if you're a heavyweight boxing fan, or if you're a boxing fan, then this is a fight, you should check out. Especially if you want to say that the heavyweight division is dead, when a heavyweight division is really coming back to the point where Vladimir Klitschko is like, all right, I'm going to come over to the States, for a little while. So let me talk about the heavyweights, that you should be following right now at this point in time. And I'm not going to put them in order. I'm just saying Tyson Fury, Vladimir Klitschko, Bryant Jennings, Alex Povetkin, Marco Huck if he moves up, Joseph Parker. Who else? I know I'm missing somebody. Amir Mansour, Steve Cunningham, depending, he's up and down type guy. And I know I'm probably missing some fighters, in Deontay Wilder, Bermane Stiverne, of course. But what I'm saying is, you got those guys right there, and then you got guys like Antonio Tarver trying to make, but you got a lot of big, good fights out there that can be made. And you actually have, for the first time in about a few years, maybe you have not just one person, but multiple fighters that may have a chance of dethroning Vladimir Klitschko. So with all those belts that he has and everything he's trying to do, he has the IBO, IBF, WBA, WBO, and he wants his big brother's WBC that was vacated by him because he went to politics. So remember, Vitaly Klitschko never lost that belt. So he wants to capture all those titles. And with the IBF, the WBA, and the WBO, they've been basically making their mandatories. Outside of the WBA, you don't really hear about no mandatories from them, especially when you got a guy like Andre Ward, still got his belt, and Keith Thurman not getting his title shot. But when it comes to the IBF and the WBO, they've been, making their mandatories. They've been having their mandatories fight. Same with the WBC. So I understand, how fans feel that fighters hasn't been getting their shots and all this type of stuff. That was a year ago, 2 years ago. You have to understand, 2014 has been different, especially with Mauricio Suleiman, the son of Jose Suleiman, a guy who's running the WBC right now. Things have been different as far as if you got that #1 contender spot, you really have a better chance of getting your title shot within 6 months. Within 6 months before you did. It's supposed to be 3 months, but in a 6 month span before you did, when I would say older, more conservative approaches were taken, with the boxing organizations. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. Please subscribe and share this video. I cover every single major fight live. No matter where it's 4 a.m. or 4 p.m., I'm going to be here. It's what I do, and I enjoy it. T Street Controversy. T Street Controversy Live.